Hi guys, it's Tuesday, and that means it's time for another episode of the Daily Berg. Thank you so much to those of you who came and worshipped with us last night, and thanks for putting up with me talking for as long as I did. Man, I just really appreciate your presence. Thank you guys for showing up. Holy Spirit, we invite you right now to speak through me and to shut my mouth if I'm going to say anything silly. Thanks that you're always faithful and you show up every time we ask. Thanks for being present with us and loving us so well. What do you want to talk about today? So you remember the parable of the talents and what it looked like for the master who was heading out to give a ton to one guy and a little bit less to the second dude, and just one if you will year's worth of wages to the last guy. Now the guy who was given the most goes and invests and does well, and the guy who is right behind him does the same. But the third guy, who's got the least, he is afraid of what his master will do if he fails at investing, if he fails at the task that he's been set. So he buries his talent in the ground and waits for the master to return. And when the master comes back, he's praising the two dudes who went out and experimented and succeeded, in no small part because they were daring, because they took risks. And then he gets to this third guy, and he says, well, what'd you do with the money? And the guy says, well, I knew that you were hardcore. Like, I knew that you would be mad if I failed. So rather than do anything, I just buried it over here, and here it is. I'm going to give it to you. So the master looks at him and kind of, I imagine, was looking and going, Are you serious? You could have at least put it in the bank. I would have gotten interest. But you buried it in the ground where it served absolutely no purpose. All right, fine. If that's what you think is best, I'm going to take from you what I gave you, and I'm going to give it to the guy who did the best. I'm going to give it to the guy who had the most. What we end up with in this picture is something that a lot of us are uncomfortable with. It's like, well, the little guy got in trouble because he was afraid. And it's like, yeah, he did. And I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to us because we just love people. And I'm for that. I think that is like a super important characteristic, to uplift those that are meek, that are weary, that are uncomfortable. And guys, that never gets to change. We don't get to stop acknowledging that we need to love on people and that our love for them is not dependent upon what they're doing. That said, God has given each of us gifts. He set us up to succeed. And even in the midst of failure, failing well is better than doing nothing. There's this verse in James, and it says, for the man who knows what to do, what he should do, for him to not do it is a sin. If you've been given gifts and talents, and guys, I've only recently started walking this out, so excuse me, please don't ever let it be something where you think that, oh, well, he's got it and he's coming down. I don't. I'm learning. Holy Spirit has made me a teacher, and he's made me a good musician, so that lends itself to worship leading, among other stuff. I've got a pretty decent head on my shoulders, and because of who my parents are and the other figures in my life that have really spoken into me, I've also been blessed with some wisdom, which is awesome. But up till even really just this last couple of years, my applications for blessing people, for using those gifts, investing them, was really pretty minimal. The effort that I put into it wasn't, but it was like putting effort into something that could be automated and done better, so you spend your time on other things. I was still doing stuff, and I believe I was still faithful to the extent of my knowledge for the most part. But now I know that I can do more. I know that the options are expanding, and God is expecting that because he's given me gifts, I use them, and use them well. Not in the sense of being condemning, not trying to be weird or flaky. In fact, quite the opposite. God has looked at us and said, I trust you with the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit, according to Jesus, equips us to do the work of Jesus and then top it. So imagine, if you will, what your personality and the things that you adore, what those things look like if Jesus and his personality and his abilities are accessible, usable, and expected to come forth from you. So yes, that includes miracles, but it also includes like ridiculous creativity and wisdom and intelligence in the midst of everyday life. Guys, it's important that we use wisdom, that we employ it in everything that we do. But I don't see any wisdom in pretending that you've been given nothing by hiding what you've been given. Don't be like that guy who stuck his money, the investment tools, the ability to succeed that God gave him. Don't be like him and put it somewhere where no one can see it, where you yourself can't utilize it. Put it out there. Sow yourselves. And if it fails, God's got grace for that. But don't do nothing. I think it was Francis Bacon, but it might have been somebody else. I apologize. I'll look it up afterwards. But there's this man, again, I believe it was Francis Bacon. He said that all that evil needs to thrive is for good men to do nothing. And I believe he's right. Bad men will continue being bad men. It's why I think certain types of gun or just arguments against violence, where violence prevention is the best mode of operation, I don't think are functional. And it's because bad will continue being bad. Period. I don't mean that people are bad. I just mean bad, evil, doesn't change its stripes. It just continues being evil. So if you have people that are submitted to evil, evil is what they're going to do. And laws for good people that prevent them from doing evil are, they're necessary. I'm rambling really bad. Holy Spirit, bring back the original train of thought, please. You're equipped. I'm sorry, I don't even know where I was going. I think this is the first time in a while I've actually been legitimately lost. But there was enough good stuff in here that I don't just want to do a retake. Because I won't say it the same way. So guys, just put yourselves out there. Even if it's scary, even if it's dangerous, even if you're not sure how it's going to work. Let yourselves be vulnerable by taking risks. And understand that there is no ability to have or practice faith without risks. Alrighty. I bless you guys. Holy Spirit, are we good to go? Yeah. So love and warmth, peace, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.